What's up and welcome to my channel. My name is Marissa, and as you probably have guessed, this week we are tackling an extreme paper declutter. So we live in Germany and school lets out a little bit later here than it does in the USA. So last week was my children's last day at school, and now they have brought home all of this paper clutter, and I just was piling it up in the corner until I could sit down and make a video about it. So today we're gonna tackle this huge pile of paper clutter together. Going through kids' paper clutter can be really stressful and overwhelming. First of all, because there's simply so much of it. Like, I cannot believe how many papers and how much artwork and art supplies and all sorts of things that they bring home once they're done with the school year. But then on top of that, you also have to deal with all of this sentimentality that's kind of wrapped up in going through all of this artwork that your children have created. And you have to find that right balance between keeping things that are meaningful and are precious memories that you want to treasure forever, and knowing what to let go of because maybe it's not so special and it was just something that needed to be created in the moment. It was part of the creative process, but it's not something that needs to stick around. So I'm gonna help you figure out the answers to these questions for yourself today as we go through the paper clutter that my children have brought home. So actually, the first suggestion that I want to make for you is, if you have multiple children, is it's good to divide and conquer. So what that means is you shouldn't spread everything out here like I have done that was just for the thumbnail. And instead, what's better is to divide up the paperwork and then tackle it with each individual child. So I'm actually going to clear off this table and make it a lot easier for each of my children to see their individual artwork without having such an overwhelming pile for them to look at all at once. And if you have children who are very full of energy or have short attention spans, it's really good to take them one by one if you can, because that way they're not goofing off and playing around, and they can really stay focused and help you declutter, which is a huge goal for parents, should be to help their children become more independent in making decisions about what to keep and what to let go of. When it comes to decluttering kids' papers and artwork, piles are your friend, because it's a lot less overwhelming for kids to go through stacks like this than it is to just spread everything out on the counter. Pull things off the top and make decisions one by one and just work through each decision, just like adults would when they're decluttering their own stuff.
It's also a good idea to prepare boxes, bins, bags, or however you're deciding to get rid of papers in advance before you start decluttering, because paper clutter is definitely one of those things that if you aren't ready to get rid of it right away, it has a habit of getting shuffled around your house and then just collecting in piles here and there. So for the few items that we decide to keep, I'm going to use this keepsake portfolio that we use to store a lot of our oversized pictures and my kids' artwork and some other memories. And then as far as getting rid of stuff, we're going to use this one bag to pile everything in. When my kids decide to get rid of it, they can just toss it in the bag, and then I will sort it later for recycling. And that really just makes the process of decluttering paper so much easier, because decision fatigue is a real thing. And if you're already asking your children to make all these decisions about the papers and artwork that they want to keep and what they want to let go of, and then you have to add the decisions of should they recycle it, should they trash it, on top of all that, it can be even more overwhelming for their brains, especially when they are younger and they have shorter attention spans. So like I said, let's reduce the amount of decisions that they have to make. Let's just make it a keep or a get rid of choice for them, and then us as parents can then go through and sort it later until they've grown up to the point where they can help out and become more independent with that.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of your paper, DD, and you get to decide what you want to keep and what you want to let go of. And anything you want to get rid of is going to go in this brown bag. Anything that's sentimental that we want to keep will go in the memory portfolio. Or if there's something else that, like art supplies or something we want to keep, we can put them in our craft drawer, okay? Are you ready? Excited?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Don't need that.
So Didi wants to keep this for writing practice, right, Didi? and it's got mostly blank pages in here. Like hardly anything was used, so we can still do some writing practice in here because we do work together at home. So I think that is a good idea. We can keep this. This will go in our TV stand that we keep extra craft stuff in. So I'm gonna put the stuff that doesn't go in the memory box but we need to keep for work over here, and we'll relocate that later.
As you're trying to declutter papers and artwork, here are a few questions that you can ask. First of all, is this item a duplicate? Because if you find that you have multiples of similar or the same items, you don't need to necessarily keep all of them. Number 2, does this represent a special memory or a milestone that we want to remember, or was it just something that was part of the creative process and not necessarily something that needs to be kept? Is this item original or unique? So for example, if you have a coloring page that they colored in, that might be a little bit different than something that they drew by hand, like their first monster drawing or their first princess drawing. And finally, ask your child themselves what they are interested in keeping and what they want to get rid of.
How are you deciding what to keep and what to let go of?
Because I'm already done with a lot of these stuff.
Yeah, you're already done with it, right? We don't need to keep it.
This is one of my test stuff in Deutsch, but I don't really need it.
Okay, you can get rid of it then. Okay, now I think we're hitting a little bit more of the sentimental stuff here, right? So this is like more artwork.
But
so
these 3 are not very important.
they're not very important. That's us, right?
This is Dad. This is me. This is my brother. This is Mom.
That's Mommy?
Yeah.
That's funny. But I noticed that you said that you don't want to keep this because you've done much better drawings of us before, right?
I don't want to keep this.
Okay, so we're getting rid of all of these.
I want to keep this.
You want to keep this? Okay. Nice sea turtle he decided to keep.
I don't want to keep this.
Don't keep this.
Another question we ask is this in good enough condition to want to keep? Like if you look at the art, is it falling apart if it's a clay piece? Are there pieces torn out of it? Are there parts missing? And we have so many good things that we can choose from and prioritize over the broken pieces or things with missing parts or torn artwork. And so it's good to ask if something is in good enough condition that it's worth keeping.
So these, I think a lot of them haven't even been used, and we can do this at home for homework.
Another question you can ask is, are we actually going to use this? Because quite frequently when you're decluttering kids' paperwork and artwork, you're going to come across things like writing utensils or notebooks or other things that didn't get used up. But you have to ask yourself, are you actually going to use them? Because just because an item's useful doesn't mean that you're actually going to use it. In our case, we actually do use items like this for home study, and in fact, I just spent 17 euros ordering some English kids workbooks from Amazon, and so I was really actually happy to find that we had these workbooks for math that were very complementary to the other things that we're studying, but that I didn't have to spend extra money on. So I'm going to go put these in our TV stand, which is where we keep our extra work and arts and craft supplies, and that should last us for a good long while.
Okay, so anything that's in this box with some of the old art stuff that you don't
I'm
want,
keeping this.
yeah, well, we can wash this. And then just leave everything that you don't want in the box and we'll throw it away.
Escalator. I'll keep this.
Oh, clay. So everything else in here can go away. And we just keep this, okay?
One of the most amazing things about decluttering arts and craft supplies is that when you clear away all of the excess in this category, you'll probably find that your kids are a lot more focused and creative, and they're able to play better with the things that they have because you've given them fewer choices, and so they're not overwhelmed by all of the options that they had, but instead get down to playing with the things that really matter to them.
Mom, look at this.
Oh, wow, let me see. What is it?
I was trying to copy the dinosaur, but
It's a dinosaur, huh? It's a very interesting dinosaur. I thought it might be helpful for you to see the complete before and after decluttering results from going through my children's end of school year arts and paper supplies. So first off, here are all of Dee Dee's items that he brought home from the end of the school year that we went through together today and that we chose to either declutter and get rid of or to keep and store. And here is what he decided to keep. On the left, you can see there are the workbooks and also the clay that he decided to keep. And then there were 4 sentimental art pieces that he decided to keep. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out our art portfolio, which is where we store our sentimental paper items and oversized artwork and photographs. And I'm just gonna put these away in his place in these accordion files. And I think that between 3 to 5 pieces of sentimental art or keepsakes is a pretty good goal that you can shoot for with your children. And if you're finding that they're keeping too many items and they just want to hold on to everything, give them choices and try to get it narrowed down to a more reasonable amount of items. So now it's time to declutter with my oldest son.
All right, so let's go through your stuff and see if there's anything that you want to get rid of or keep.
Oh, I don't.
This is get rid of, right?
Yeah.
I think you'll notice that my oldest son is a lot faster and more confident with his choices as compared to his little brother. And I really believe that this is possible for you to achieve in your own family as well. Because decluttering is like a muscle, right? The more you exercise your decluttering muscles and the more choices you make and the more practiced you become, the better and faster you're going to be at making those choices going forward.
Okay, so this is more of the sentimental stuff. So you don't want that piece, so you can put them in this box. No? Okay, what about this? This was your presentation that you did, but we have pictures of you doing that presentation, right? Yeah, so don't need to keep it.
So this is another example of a duplicate because this poster board was from my son's first big presentation in front of his classroom, and he did a presentation on one of the local castles, which was kind of exciting for us because it was actually someplace that we used to live right next to. But this is not something that we need to keep the poster board for because we have the pictures and the videos of this and him practicing the presentation, which are a lot more special. So since we have these pictures and these other memories, that means that the original poster board is a duplicate and we don't need to keep it. So it's something that we can discard.
All right, what about your art supply box? Is there anything in there you need? Wow, that was fast. Oh wait, what about this beat eraser?
I'll keep that actually. I like it.
Okay, that one you want to keep. That's literally the only thing you're keeping out of that huge stack of paper and stuff, right? Hold up your B.
All right, just as a quick recap, let's go over where we started with papers and art supplies for my oldest son. So this is Gugu's before decluttering pile and all of the stuff that we went through today. And then after going through all of these items, he had one thing left, which is a bee eraser that I think was given to him by one of his friends. So it's useful, but it's also sentimental, which is one of my favorite kinds of things to keep. I hope that you enjoyed decluttering paper with my children and I today, and I just want to cheer you on and encourage you that no matter where you are in your decluttering journey and how hard things may or may not be right now, it is possible to get to a point where decluttering becomes a lot easier and less stressful, and that in turn is going to spill over into other areas of your life and make things a lot more simple. So don't get discouraged if your kids aren't able to make choices as fast and to let go of as many things as my children are, because you need to keep in mind that this is after years and years of practicing decluttering together. And if you found value in this video, I would love it if you would give it a like and maybe consider going down and hitting the little red subscribe button and ringing the bell to turn on all notifications so that you don't miss any of the helpful videos that I'm sharing here on my channel each week to help you conquer your clutter and simplify your way to a life you love. And if you're feeling motivated and ready to tackle your next decluttering project, make sure to check out this video on the left with 10 helpful tips to help you declutter faster. Or I'll see you next week. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.